The road show continues. You're at the Watchmen Way, May 7th, 2020. From Sedona, Arizona. I made it, finally. Yeah, this is the first time. First time I've been here. And the pictures don't do it justice. Pretty amazing. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I wanted to do some outside shots, but I just got here 20 minutes ago, so it's been a little crazy. So I'm going to forego that for tonight and maybe do something tomorrow, depending on where I end up. I'm either going to stay here again tomorrow or go to Prescott. You'll find out tomorrow. You'll know when I know, almost. Big news. General Flynn exonerated. Doesn't get any better, guys. This was the first big boom. It's kind of setting the stage, I think, as this all gets out now, and how this actually went down. It's really exposing the FBI and the deep state, and all the players. Heads are going to roll here. And I think next week, I think it's going to be pretty big too, because who knows? The next few days. I think Brennan and Clapper are going down. Maybe Obama. This is on. I mean, I believe that this is all going to happen in the next 30 days. You know, somebody big's going down. When I say big, I mean Obama or Clinton, Bush. They say, the rumor is Bush would be next, would be the first president, the first big name to go down. We'll see. Doesn't make any difference to me. As long as they start this and that, this is it. These are big revelations that are going to be exposed here to the general public. After all the hype of, you remember when they first indicted General Flynn, the mainstream media it was party time, right? We got him now. Well, look how the tables have turned. They got nothing, except for a lot of indictments. 160,000 nationwide. Look it up on the DOJ website. The average for a year sealed indictments is 3,500. There's 160,000 on the books right now. The show's about to begin. Get ready. Blame China, save the economy. The Trump campaign embraces a new message. Yeah. Blame China. That's where this was always headed. Blame China for the economy. Drain the swamp. Expose the pedophiles. President Trump wins 2020 with 90% of the vote. No matter what. It could be even worse if you can imagine that. It depends on how much of this gets out between now and then, and I think it's all coming out between now and then. Schiff folds, publishes Russiagate transcripts after showdown with the DNI, Director of National Intelligence. It's time for Schiff and Pelosi and Schumer, Feinstein to all crash and burn. I think they're going down with this first, well, we'll see. Could be this month. San Antonio City Council passes a resolution. This is globalism at work right here. And this is in Texas. This is in California. This is in Texas. Passes a resolution declaring that the labeling Chinese flu, Kung flu is hate speech now in San Antonio, Texas. Texans, quit knocking California because you're getting just as bad. It's embarrassing coming out of Texas. It really is. This shouldn't be happening in Texas. Texas is supposed to be the conservative stronghold. It just goes to show you how infiltrated these globalists got. Got in deep. They almost had us. Too close, guys. Way too close. Record plunge in service section business activity points to a profits crash. Come in, get your money out of physical silver, or excuse me, out of paper, banks, stock market, bond market, annuities, 401ks. You got to get it in outside the system. You got to get it into assets outside the system, which are physical silver and Litecoin. You know, everything on paper is crashing when the economy comes down. Assets outside the system, like physical silver and Litecoin, are going to be going through the roof while everything else is crashing. Don't wait. Coinbase.com for Litecoin. We'll post the sites after the chat in the comment section. SD Bullion or JM Bullion for the silver. Also Gemini.com for Litecoin if you have trouble at Coinbase getting an account open. If you have a small bank, your best bet's going to be Gemini, because Coinbase, unless you've got a major bank, Wells Fargo, B of A, Citibank, Chase, it's a lot harder to get approved, and in most of the small banks, you can't get approved with Coinbase. So if you have a small local bank or a credit union, you're better off going through Gemini. Kevin's available. Kevin Owens is available to you guys for questions on all of this stuff. Silver, Litecoin, the exchanges, the ledger and programming. Kevin's number is 702-325-9258. That should also be posted. It's all good. Last week, I talked about the first time God called me to be a watchman in 2014. Tonight, I think, because I didn't have a lot of time for notes, I'm going to talk about the second time when he called me to lead the revival of his church, the church that Jesus called the Way when he was here 2,000 years ago. The church, and all of you should look this up, the church that Jesus taught when he was here was called the Way. In my mind, and I'm still waiting for somebody to prove me wrong, it's the purest form of religion on the face of the earth. It's pretty basic. It's pretty simple. You don't need to be a rocket scientist or a genius to figure it out. It's basically, tell the truth every time. Do the right thing every time. Treat others with respect. No violence unless it's in self-defense. Live your life in the service of others. There's no priest, there's no pope. Donations go from the donor's hands directly into the hands of the needy. There's no middleman. Nobody else is taking a cut. It's not with these deals like you donate $10 and $1 goes to the charity. All of it, 100%, is going to the needy. The church is everywhere. It's in all of us. There's no priest. There's no pope. There's no buildings. We meet in each other's homes. But mainly, we meet in the community, on the streets, build a house for the homeless, do yard work for the elderly that can't do it any longer. The possibilities are endless. Basically, instead of meeting in a church for an hour a week, we're meeting every week. We're going to end homelessness. We're going to end hunger, first in America and then the world. There's no downside to this. You can't knock it. It was never adopted by the elites because the elites couldn't control it. There was no way to control it because there was no hierarchy, right? There was no money being funneled to a central location. Stays in the community for the most part. People have accused me of trying to be the Pope or start my own religion or a cult or whatever. I've got no desire to be a religious leader. I'm not a priest. I'm not a preacher. I'm a watchman. I'm the messenger. I'm the one delivering the messages. The watchman role will be basically acting as a conduit between the money, which the watchmen on a whole are going to have plenty of. And remember, from day one, we talked about paying it forward. God showed me several things when he called me in 2014. He showed me the worldwide economic collapse, showed me the worldwide draining of the swamp, showed me the exposure and eradication of satanic pedophiles, showed me carbon-60, showed me physical silver and Litecoin as a way to protect ourselves from the financial devastation that was coming. And then we always said that from the proceeds, all the watchmen would pay forward a percentage of their profits from these gifts from God, physical silver and Litecoin. Nothing's changed from our original mandate, except that God wants our donations to be designated as donations to building the foundation of the way of his church. That's how we're going to start this thing off. Basically, with seed money from the Watchmen, and then we will coordinate the money to different, we're going to call them ministries right now, around the country. So now Kevin's also going to be in charge of organizing the ministries. Anybody who's interested in starting a ministry, get a hold of Kevin. We want to get everybody, all the ministries, we want to get logged in with the Watchmen. And then what we're going to do is, as these ministries start developing projects that they want to take on in their communities, they'll contact the Watchmen. The Watchmen will hook up those communities with the people, Watchmen, who have the funds to get these things started. We're looking for people who want to help, people that want to be mentors, or people that also need some help with this process, who need a mentor to help them. Either way, you can get a hold of Kevin or Danielle or Lisa if you have any questions or want to get signed up for these programs. We will be developing, I think, pages on the watchmanway.com for people to sign up for this stuff. This is just in the initial stages, guys. But we're transitioning now from our major objective from day one has been red pilling and preparing. We're about to shift gears now as these people start getting arrested. We're going to shift gears from red pilling and preparing to getting the way moving forward. That's our next, well, not our next task, but our future task. From here on out, our main function after these arrests get rolling, after we don't need to prep anybody anymore, then we'll shift into the way and our ministries and getting this whole thing rolling as quickly as we can, because we're going to need this, because we're going to be going through a rough patch here for the next year to two as we go through this first ever worldwide economic collapse and into the recovery. There's going to be a little bit of a rough patch, right? I mean, we're already starting to see it with people who haven't been working now for a while. You know, the stimulus checks have helped, but it doesn't make up for what we're losing here. And then also the damage that's being done to our economy. The longer this thing goes on, the harder it's going to be to reboot the economy and get it back on track. You have to remember that there are going to be thousands, maybe tens of thousands of businesses that don't open up again. They aren't going to survive this. And then there's going to be probably that many again who go down the first year who because they've been so badly damaged economically, they're not going to survive it. I think a lot of people are just throwing in the towel now. They're not, just like what happened in '08. There were a lot of companies that were, you know, maybe had 15 or 20 years left in them. You know, when the owner is starting to get up there and you know, maybe 10 years to retirement and this happens, these people are just going to shut the doors. They're not going to waste any more time or money, you know, chasing business. They're just going to fold and retire early. You know, it's unfortunate for the people they were employing, but see, we're gonna have a lot of that, and we got to be ready for it. And it's going to make the recovery even tougher. Like I keep saying, the longer this goes on, the harder it's going to be to get through it. But you know, we've got God and President Trump on our side. It's nothing to worry about. Surely nothing to worry about if you're prepared the Watchmen way. Extra food, extra water, medical supplies, ammo, physical silver, and Litecoin. You'll thrive through this. Because remember, what's going to happen is when this thing tanks, there's going to be an immediate jump in silver and Litecoin. Immediate. Litecoin over 100, silver over 100, over 100, 150 bucks. It's going to be 10% of gold within a month, I think, or sooner. And you know, Litecoin, I think it's going to be 500 bucks within a couple of months of the crash, of the declaration of the crash, when nobody can deny it anymore. When that happens, expect to see big jumps. So anyway, I guess it's been 3 months now plus since he called me the second time. So the first time I was at the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas, Senior National Finals in 2014. I was in the shower. Hit me like a bolt of lightning. Whatever it was, 3 months ago, let's just say. It was mid-January is when it was. Again, hit me like a bolt of lightning. And this time, you know, he asked me to lead the revival of the way. And when that hit me, it's just, because we've been saying for a year and a half, We're going to pay it forward. We're going to pay it forward. It never even dawned on me that we would be doing something like this. But when God showed me this, it just was like, how didn't I see this? It just made perfect sense. I think he didn't give it to me all at once, maybe for a couple of reasons. Maybe because he wanted to see how we were going to do. I don't know why he would have to wait. He knows what was going to happen. But I think probably more because maybe he didn't want to overwhelm me. Because that would have been, think about it. Worldwide economic collapse, worldwide swamp draining, satanic pedophiles being exposed and eradicated. And then, oh, by the way, I want you to start the revival of my church. I mean, that in and of itself would have been overwhelming at that time, right? I think about it, it kind of makes perfect sense because I've had basically 5 years to get ready for this. And was excited instead of overwhelmed when he showed me. So, and the other thing, as part of that, showed me the Catholic Church coming down this year. The Catholic Church collapsing from the inside. The Pope is going to resign in 2020. When he does, they're going to announce that 70% of priests today are homosexuals and 50% of priests are pedophiles. Let that sink in. How many Catholics do you think they're going to be left when the Catholic Church announces that 50% of active priests are pedophiles? It's over. 1.2 billion Catholics are going to be looking for a new home. And God wants the way ready, and we are, when that happens. He's told me that by 2040, 20 years, the way will be the biggest religion in the world. And I have no doubt in my mind. The world is begging for this. I've had hundreds of Christians the last 5 years tell me they're leaving their churches because of what church has become. 501c3s controlled by the governments, can't talk about abortion, can't oppose abortion. God is not happy. Not happy with what church has become. Not happy with how we use the Bible to attack each other, to beat each other with. The Bible's a book of comfort that we've totally misused, totally misunderstood. Probably the most misunderstood book in the world. It's not to be taken literally. That's man's doing. Those words come from man, not from God. Basically, the Old Testament and the New Testament are the history books of the Jewish people and the Catholic people. The New Testament was written by Catholics. The Old Testament was written by the Jewish people. That's historical fact. Most Christians don't even. This is kind of also a review because about a month ago I asked all the Watchmen to do. I gave you some homework, and basically it was two things. When was the Bible assembled, and who was in charge of assembling the Bible? And when was the first time the rapture was taught? The Bible was assembled in 330 AD. So 300 years after Jesus died on the cross, the Bible was assembled. And there were hundreds of books that they picked from. hundreds of books that went into and this was basically the New Testament, right? Well, they were hundreds of books, and it was actually both the New and the Old Testament in 330 AD. So the rapture was first taught. Most people think, oh, well, it would have been taught from the beginning, right? No, wrong. The people who wrote the Bible never taught the rapture. Catholics never taught the rapture. The Jews never taught the rapture. The rapture wasn't taught until the 1830s by an English minister in England, 1830s England. John Darby was the first preacher to preach the rapture. You know where he got it? You can get it from the Bible. A 9-year-old, I think it was 9-year-old girl, had a dream. And that's where he came up with the rapture story. Biggest scam pulled on Christians yet. Because all these Christians believe in the rapture that doesn't exist. There is no rapture. It's not a big deal. I mean, as Catholics, we believed you die, you immediately go to heaven. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, right? It was a way to get people to, and I've experienced the flip side to this, because these same preachers are telling you, oh, you don't need to worry, God's going to take care of you. Christians were the worst, this 5-year period, the Christians were the worst ones to deal with, because they're telling me, oh, I don't need to prepare. God's going to take care of me. God sent me. This is him taking care of you. Me warning you about what's coming so you can get prepared for it. There are tens of thousands of Christians that are going to get blindsided by this because of their ignorance. You got to use your critical thinking skills, guys. I keep saying it. The most important thing I can teach you is to use your critical thinking skills. Question everything. Question everyone, including me. Every one of you tonight should be going on the internet and Googling everything I'm talking about right now, and you'll find that every single thing I'm telling you is a fact. The way is a real deal. The way is what God wants. It's what God wanted originally, and we got sidetracked by the elite. Is that a surprise? Emperor Constantine was the one who was responsible with assembling the Bible. A guy who would be a globalist today, a guy who would be a satanic pedophile today, is the guy who was in charge of assembling the Bible. Kind of like the same guys who assembled the internet, who invented the internet, who invented Facebook. They're the same people. Now, all of these things are inspired by God. And God has basically fooled the globalists and the elite. Everything that they invented to control us, starting with the Bible, then the internet, then Facebook, then Twitter, then Google, all those companies going to be seized, all of them created by our CIA, created to control us and destroy us, have been turned against them. I wouldn't have been a fraction as efficient as I was if I didn't have the internet and Facebook. We have changed, the Watchmen now have changed tens of thousands, I believe, lives. Getting people ready for this. Creating billions of dollars. A big chunk of that paid forward initially to rebuild the world from what's happening right now, and then to continue and grow. I don't know how it gets much better. When you add the way into the story, and then you look what's going to happen over the next couple of years, 90% of evil in the world is going to be removed from the face of the earth. Either executed or put in prison for the rest of their lives. They're never going to see the light of day. Thousands of the most evil people in the world, thousands of the most powerful people in the world, the wealthiest people in the world are going to be executed, have their assets stripped from them and their families, and executed or thrown in prison. That's where we're headed. So think about the world we're going to have when 90% of the evil is removed. These are the people that have every war the last 300 years, they're responsible for. Every terrorist attack, they're responsible for. Every school shooting, every false flag, they're responsible for. Drug trade in America, started by the CIA. Their target was the black populations in the inner cities. And look at the devastation they've caused. Over with now. Gone. The globalist agenda, gone. And look at the things they've been trying to do the last 100 years. And the things they've accomplished. We were too close for comfort, guys. They almost had us. If it wasn't for God and President Trump, we'd be having a whole different story. But now we've got 90% of the evil in the world leaving. At the same time, the way is taking hold. And people are wanting to live their lives in the service of others. What kind of world do you think we're going to have? It's hard for me to describe how good it's going to be, what God has shown me. The closest thing I can come is heaven on earth. The greatest transfer of wealth in human history is happening now. The next year. This year, it's happening. Greatest transfer of wealth in human history. 7 times what's been taken from us is going to be returned to us. Mostly through physical silver and Litecoin. Do you want to be a part of the greatest transfer of wealth in human history? Get your Litecoin and physical silver. And think about the world we're going to have. A 1,000 years of peace and prosperity. Man's greatest accomplishment will go down as defeating this evil. We should have never won this battle. It's like Mike Tyson in his prime losing to a first grader. That's what this is like. That's how much power they had. What did they control? 90% of the wealth of the world was controlled by these people. And we're destroying them right now. This should have never happened. The globalist agenda, Agenda 21. I mean, they should have won this whole thing with the power they had, the control they had, the money they had. And they had, listen, when President Trump took office, there were more globalists in the American government than there were patriots. That's how close we were. These people had control of nuclear weapons, of bioweapons. That's why it took so long. Everybody keeps saying, well, why is it taking so long? You know, that they know these people did these things, torturing and murdering children. How come they're still on the streets? They would have arrested them by now. Millions would have died. If President Trump, the first thing he would have done was started the arrest. Even in the first few months, there'd have been a civil war. Because the mainstream media had done a pretty good job of telling everybody how crazy President Trump was, and he was going to try and take over the country. So now he starts arresting Obama, Clinton, Of course, the people are going to think that's exactly what's happening. They would have risen up. Not to mention what the deep state would have done with their nukes and bioweapons. They weren't going to go down quietly. They'd have taken out tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions with them when they went. So that's why it's taken 3 years to get to this point. But it's over now. All of the dangers have been eliminated. Looks like it right now is go time. That's why I think it's going to happen before the election, because the economy. Listen, the globalists would love to bring the economy down in October, early October, right? Maybe late September. It's going to go down before then. I think President Trump's going to declare a reset, but it's not going to make the election. Because listen, the elites, the globalists will take it down. If President Trump lets it get to August, they'll pull it down because they want to blame him for it. They wanted the virus. That was the whole point of the virus. Murder millions of people and blame it on President Trump. Economy goes down, blame it on President Trump. It was the only chance they had. It's over now. Not going to happen. And all their crimes are going to be exposed. President Trump wins the election with 90% of the vote. Because it's not just the Democrats don't have enough power to win. It said nobody's going to vote for him. They're done. Nobody will vote Democrat again. The Democratic Party's finished, just like the mainstream media, just like the CIA, just like the IRS, just like the Federal Reserve. And a lot more going down. All the inroads made by the globalists are going to be removed. It's all good, guys. So, fear porn? I don't see any fear. I don't see any reason to have any fear. I'm certainly not pushing fear porn. These are all good things, guys. The economy has to come down. The bankers have to be cleaned out. This whole thing, when you see the corruption and manipulation and the theft, the outright theft over the last 100 years, it's trillions of dollars. Trillions. Tens of trillions, probably. It's all coming back to us. It's all good. I keep saying I couldn't write a better script. I couldn't write a better script. Heaven on earth. Man's greatest age. 1,000 years of peace and prosperity. You're going to enjoy it a lot more if you're prepared. Get your Litecoin and silver now, because when this happens, and this could happen any day now, the economy is so weak. The worldwide economy is so weak it could come down any day. When it does come down, you won't be able to buy Litecoin or silver. They'll shut it down. They won't sell it, because when these jumps start, these rises in price, dealers won't sell it anymore. Exchanges won't sell it until it plateaus. And that could be weeks. You could get out, or this could start at, say, $20 for silver. That could start at 20. You might not be able to buy it for weeks, and by then it could be into the hundreds. Figure that out. How much less you're going to be able to buy by waiting. The same thing with Litecoin. It's 40-something bucks today. It'll be several hundred by the time they open the exchanges again, and climbing. Don't wait. Get it now. These prices are gifts from God. Take advantage. He wants you to take advantage. That's what they're here for right now. But they're not going to be here for long. Okay, let me see what we got for questions. Paul, how you doing? How am I going to do this here? I can do it over this way. Oh boy, that's not good. me see. Okay. Kevin, Dallas from Montana, how you doing? Gary, Randy, evil's going to be eradicated, Randy. No fear, no worries. Julie, how you doing? Carbon 60, take 15 mil a day. It's liquid form. The best thing to do is get one of those cough syrup measurers you get with your cough syrup. 15 mil a day. I take 30. You can't take too much of this. You could actually take a bottle, which is 100 mil. There's some athletes who take 100 mil a day. Not every day for months, but for weeks if they're getting ready for a competition or whatever. You can't take too much. But 15 mil is what I recommend. And you can take more if you've got either a health condition or something that you're trying to get over. I would bump up the dose. Cowgirl Kathy, how are you? Jason, what's up? Tessie, what's up? Yeah, listen, the globalists run our CIA. You know, Bush was a globalist henchman. He was the top globalist in our country. You know, his son, that was Papa Bush's second and third administration. Uh, when W was in office, because he was a buffoon. You know, the old man was pulling the strings with Bush 43. Mansfield, how you doing? Terry was told that what's happening now is the Great Deception, and President Trump is going to be the Antichrist. Not going to happen, guys. God showed me his hand on President Trump, guiding and protecting him. President Trump is a man of God. We have nothing to fear from President Trump. Just look at what he's done. And here's the thing, guys. Do you think that the globalists put President Trump in so he could destroy everything that they worked the last 300 years to accomplish? Because that's what he's done. He is not the Antichrist. He is the globalist. He's the devil's worst nightmare, is what he is. Absolutely ridiculous. Jan, how you doing? Melody, hello. Michael, what's up? Kevin, Raylyn, what's up? Any silver, guys. Silverware, real silverware, jewelry, anything you can buy that has silver in it, do it. Aaron, how you doing? Uh, Kevin's got that one. Christine, how you doing? David? There's Mike Jamman, guys. Colloidal silver, copper, or colloidal copper. Get it from Mike Jamman. Makes it himself. Yeah, it was sad. It was scary. It was scary to see so many globalists uh, in our government. Yeah, it'll come in handy. Joan, how you doing? Kathleen, hello. Yeah, don't listen, guys. Don't don't believe these polls. These are the same guys that said, President Trump was going to lose in a landslide. Tessie wants to know when the indictments are coming down. Any day, Tessie. They're coming down soon. Wade says July 1st for the reset. That would be the latest day I think they could go. I mean, the 4th of July, they could probably make it work. I don't think they want to go that late. I think it's getting, I mean, that would be the absolute outside, I think. You're welcome, Jeff. Ray Lim wants me to describe a reset. Okay, so in a reset, and the most important things, right? Basically, what's going to happen? All paper assets are going to be wiped out. Everything. Your retirement, your pension, your bank account, your stocks, your bonds, anything that you're holding on paper, not going to be worth the paper it's written on. What you hold in your hands, your home, your car, if you bought those things on credit, you will own free and clear. Maybe not a bad time if you need a car and you could get it no money down on 0% interest. Might be a good time to get a car. My 2 oldest daughters just closed on houses, $1.5 million worth of houses last month. They will make less than 3 payments on those houses. They're going to own them free and clear with, I think, 10% down. There are people that are going to lose too. Now remember, home values are going to go down. Real estate's going to go down 80% over the next 5 years. So yeah, you're going to lose some value, but you're not going to have a mortgage to pay off, right? If you're working, if you've got a job, you're going to be in pretty good shape, because that's most people's biggest expenditure is their mortgage every month. So it's going to be a huge relief, even though we've got a huge hit, right, with our pension funds. For the people that see this coming, it's all good, because there's not a watchman here that isn't going to be a millionaire based on what I've been shown. It's a good trade-off for us. We know what's coming. We prepare. Silver and Litecoin. If you've got 500 ounces of silver and 25 Litecoin, for generations, your family's never going to have to work again. If you can hold that for 5 years or 4 years till 2024, 500 ounces of silver and 25 Litecoin, like I said, you're set for life. Your kids are set for life. Your kids' are set for life. This is generational money we're talking about. Life-changing money. $20 makes you a millionaire in 4 years. $20. I believe Litecoin is going to have the greatest return on investment of any asset in history. And it's going to happen, I think, fairly quickly. Litecoin will be to 1,000. By the end of this year, Litecoin's going to be to 1,000. I think silver's going to be to 1,000. Some people think Litecoin will be to 75,000 by the end of the year. Think about that. Don't miss the boat. So there may be some civil unrest to a minimum. I think the good thing is President Trump. It's going to go a lot worse around the world. Anybody in a globalist country needs to worry, because those leaders could care less what happens to the people. In fact, they'd rather see a lot of them die because that's what globalists want. The globalists want a worldwide population of 500 million. That's a problem when there's 7.5 billion people in the world. It's a big problem. They want to murder 7 billion people. It's all over. Not going to happen, guys. So, going to have a rough patch, possibly as long as 2 years. I'm hoping a year. And I think with President Trump, it's going to be a year or less. But we have to be ready for a rough patch. But it's going to be made much easier with the assets we'll have. You know, the people of Venezuela, the people of Greece, they weren't that lucky. They lost their money, didn't see it coming. Most of them lost everything. Not if you are prepared for this. You're going to thrive through this, not struggle. Brittany, how you doing? Terry, what's up? Yeah, President Trump's pulling their chain. President Trump isn't going to serve a third term, but I think what's coming is going to be just as good. We'll see here in the next month. I think we'll know, because Pence is not going to be the next vice president. There's going to be somebody different as VP. Well, remember, guys, it's Kathy's saying it's hard not to be mad at the government. It's not the government per se. It's the globalist in the world that's driven this whole thing. Our government now is okay. We still have globalist elements that need to be worked out, but they're on it. These people have been handcuffed for now and will be leaving the building shortly. They're being weeded out. And a big bunch of it's going to come when the economy collapses, because President Trump's going to chop the federal government. They're going to make huge chops to the how many employees work for the government. It's our founders are rolling over in their graves when they see the size of our government. The federal government was never supposed to get this big, ever, not even close. Our founders wanted minimal federal government. The states were supposed to take care of a lot of things that the feds are taking care of, but it was less power for that to happen. So they wanted to centralize the power, right? Another globalist tactic. Bitcoin, I think, is going to have tomorrow. I'm not sure if it's tomorrow, whatever. Price goes up. And halving, guys, it's not that they split it. It's that the miners get half of what they've been getting. So it creates a shortage, because miners after tomorrow will be leaving. So there'll be fewer miners to take on the job. But it will drive the price up. Tiffany, how you doing? Richard, hello. Aaron, what's up? Well, that's good point, Stephanie, because I actually forgot this. I was going to put this in earlier. The Watchmen are not only going to focus on reviving God's church, we are also going to maintain our status as watchmen, because we have to make sure this never happens again. The watchmen will be forever vigilant to make sure this evil never rears its ugly head again. And when it does, it will be chopped off immediately. They will never be allowed to get in as deep as they were. The watchmen are going to make sure of it. Roxanne, how you doing? Roxanne's having amazing results from Carbon 60. And we're going to get, anybody, I think what we need to do is we'll put a section in the websites for results, reviews, basically on Carbon 60. So for now, just go ahead and send those in to Lisa, and then we'll figure out if we want them to go somewhere else. But I want to collect those and put them on the website. Oh, so listen, Facebook is not our friend. They are trying to divert traffic away from these chats. You have to go to the Watchmen page and then scroll down. If you don't see the chat, keep refreshing. Eventually it will come on. So just stay on the Watchmen page and keep refreshing your browser, or refreshing the page, and they'll come on. But don't, stay there, be patient. Sometimes I'm late. I've been late a couple of times. Hang in there, but stay on the Watchmen page and you'll find it. It'll come up. Bush 41 was responsible for planning the assassination of JFK. Yes. Yeah, JFK, not JFK Jr. Well, no. Okay. For one, I don't think JFK Jr. is dead, number one. Bush 41 planned the assassination of JFK. The deep state was planning the assassination of JFK Jr. And I believe that the white hats went to him and faked his death and got him underground, is what I think happened. I think he might be the next VP, actually. Bitcoin just hit 10 grand. Get ready, guys. Buckle up. I think we're about ready to take off. Jane, how you doing? Ray Lynn saying the Audible tape, Oracle, the unveiling of the Jubilee. Jubilee, guys, it's in the Bible. The Jews, every 50 year was a Jubilee year. They wiped out all debt. Every 50 years they did this. It's not a novel or unheard of possibility. David's got 70 Litecoin now. Good job, David. Call Kevin. Kevin Owens, 702-325-9258. Call Kevin about Ledger. I wouldn't, gold-plated silver. If it's gold-plated silver, yes. If it's just gold-plated, not so much. And I don't need to do silver. Gold-plated, yeah. If it's gold-plated silver, yes, I would get a bunch of that. If it's cheap or reasonable. Yeah. July 4th was the day that the war started against the deep state and the globalist of last year. That's when we had the nuke that they said was an earthquake at China Lake in California, and then had another one the next day that they called and said was going to be even bigger than the one, 100%. They said within 24 hours, we're going to have another one bigger than yesterday. You don't do that in California. You say we might have aftershocks, and they could be less powerful, sometimes more powerful, but they never tell you, we're going to have one within 24 hours, and it's going to be bigger than the last one. I lived there my whole life. Been through hundreds of earthquakes. Never have they ever said that. I knew something was up. And then the next day, oh yeah, it was bigger. They were mini nukes. They were setting off, taking out an underground base, deep state base. Susie, how you doing? There will be a gold-backed dollar when this all happens. China has a gold-backed dollar. Russia has a gold-backed dollar. The United States has a gold-backed dollar. Here it's already printed and ready to roll out. I thought you sold your house, Susie. Did something happen? Nobody could do a better job than President Trump because President Trump has had the hand of God on him, guiding him. You can't do any better than that, guys. Cindy wants to know what gold-backed money is. Gold-backed money is what the United States had up until 1971. Up until 1971, the U.S. dollar was a gold-backed currency. There's no gold-backed currency in the world today, right now, except ours when it comes out. What that means, guys, and why that's so important, when we have a gold-backed currency, we cannot print any more money than the gold we have to back up that currency. So it controls how much money you can print. That's why the globalists wanted us off the gold standard, because to collapse the economy, they needed to go on a printing spree that was going to take us down, and that's exactly where we're at right now. Look what's happened since 1971. Look where we're at. The U.S. dollar that in 1913, when the Fed was started, a U.S. dollar was worth 100 cents. A U.S. dollar today is worth about, I think it's 3 or 4 cents. U.S. dollar today, when you compare it to the 1913 value, is worth like 3 pennies. That's how badly they've destroyed our economy in 100 years. Mark, how you doing? Keisha, how you doing? Patricia ordered some carbon 60 on Monday. Good job. Yeah. Yeah, I would actually recommend on your first dose, guys, I'd probably triple it on your first dose just to get you. Doesn't hurt. Yeah, Facebook is censoring, guys. Cody got 40 Litecoin. Good job, Cody. We're glad too, Randy. Welcome aboard. Rhonda, Tommy, what's up? Yeah, gold plated, I'm not sure. But here's the thing. Well, I'll take that back. Very soon, gold is going to be worth $50,000 an ounce. Probably within a year of today, gold's going to be 50,000 an ounce. Then that gold-plated silverware is going to be worth a lot more. So I'd wait for that. Got to hang on to it for a while. Chelsea, how you doing? Silver certificates, not sure. Silver certificates were made so that you could claim silver with those. Might not be a bad idea. It's not really going to do you any benefit. I don't know. Just buy silver. It's cheap enough, guys. It's less than 20 an ounce. Buy silver. Physical silver. Randy wants to know who's going to be vice president. I believe if JFK Jr. is alive, JFK Jr. will be our next vice president. Think about that scenario. Think about when they roll him out there and announce his candidacy, and he comes forward and tells his story about who murdered his father and how they were going to murder him because they knew Hillary Clinton could never beat him, so they had to get him out of the way. Going to be awesome, guys. And think about the impact that's going to have on the Democrats. Because remember, his family wasn't Republican. They were Democrats. He's Democratic royalty. Think about him telling his story to the Democrats and what that's going to do. Can't write a better script, guys, I'm telling you. Rita, how you doing? Diana, hello. Okay, guys, that's all the questions. Any day, guys. Any day. That's how we have to think about this. We have to assume this is going to happen. The economy is so weak. We have to assume this thing's going down any day. Don't procrastinate. If you're going to buy today. Don't wait till tomorrow. We still have to red pill and prepare. We have to finish this thing. Too early to celebrate. Let's keep pushing all the way to the end. Every day matters. Every minute matters. Every person matters. Let's keep reaching out, texting, social media, calling your friends and relatives. Be positive. Got to be positive. Beware of the cognitive dissonance. I think the first line, how would you like to be a part of the greatest transfer of wealth in human history? Who's going to say no to that? Get them started out with a yes, and then tell the story. Don't need to get into pedophilia right now. Just talk about the economy, what's going on right now. We don't need to go down that road to get them red-pilled. Let's keep pushing, guys. Stay positive. I'm going to wrap it up there for tonight. The Watchmen prayer for God and country. Amen. I'll see you tomorrow night at 5 Pacific from who knows where. God bless.